Good afternoon and welcome to the 2004 edition of MHS Alumni Roundtable. I'm Mark Offinger, the principal of the high school, and with me at my side is Dr. Sherry King, our superintendent of schools. Each year, we invite back seniors who graduated last year, 6 months removed from high school, to find out how they're doing this year and to reflect a little bit back on high school. And it feels in many ways like a big party having all of you back. So welcome back. We're delighted to have you. And we're going to start the program by introducing ourselves. Please just introduce yourself, your name, and tell us what school or what you're doing right now. And we're going to start with somebody who's comfortable on camera, Matt Devine.
I am Matt Devine, and I go to the University of Michigan.
I'm Sean McGee, and I go to Gettysburg College.
I'm Evan Parter, and I go to the University of Virginia.
I'm Stephanie Fraley, and I go to the University of Pittsburgh.
I'm Herbie Weisberg, and I go to Babson College.
I'm Alana Adler, and I go to Rhode Island School of Design.
I'm J.C. Heinbachel, and I go to University of Richmond.
I'm Alan Garcia, and I go to the Fashion Institute of Technology.
I'm Scott Schwartz, and I go to the University of Southern California.
I'm Jessica Mazo, and I go to Syracuse University.
I'm Julia Black, and I took last year off and traveled to India for last semester.
I'm Lauren Scher, and I go to Colgate University.
I'm Andy Nickel, and I go to UNC Chapel Hill.
I'm Ben Wise, and I go to James Madison University.
I'm Mike Levere, I go to Pomona College.
I'm Emerald Brady Stewart, and I go to Wellesley College.
I'm Sarah Muffley, I go to Smith College.
I'm Naomi Laurie, I'm currently at SUNY New Paltz.
I'm Mike Vespi, and I go to Yale University.
I'm Seth Rothman, I go to Quinnipiac University.
Welcome back.
And we know that it's tough to get up before 11 o'clock now that you're in college, isn't it? You wipe the sleep out of your eyes. Anyway, we thought we'd just ask a general question. 6 months have gone by. How have the first 6 months gone for you?
Quickly.
Yeah, really quickly.
You mean more quickly than you thought, Sarah?
Yes.
So what have been some of the challenges, surprises, discoveries?
Well, challenges, I mean, obviously the workload is entirely different than Mamaroneck High School's.
Much less.
Hell no. No. I mean, Mamaroneck High School, their workload for a week is my workload in an hour.
Wow.
It seems. It's
well, also for a week, you just do it in an hour.
Yeah, that's true. No.
I'm going to come back to you.
What are some other surprises besides workload?
It's a challenge learning how to fall asleep with Dawn of the Dead playing on TV. It's not easy.
Yeah, roommates can be a problem.
You know, can we talk a little bit about roommates? Because that's a huge thing when you first go away.
How many of you have singles?
I kind of do. Like, I have a 2-room double, so there's one door from the main entrance, like from the hall, and then there's 2 rooms that are connected. Mine's the one in the back, so like I can close the door and work and go to sleep whenever I want.
Has that been a good thing for you?
Yeah, I really like it.
Well, I used to have a roommate, but she moved down the hall because she had a friend down the hall, so yeah, it worked out.
So what is it like adjusting to roommates? Do you have any terrible stories you want to share?
Okay, I have a horrible story.
Oh, great.
Well, Syracuse has these thing called split doubles, where you like go to the room and then there's a giant wall in the middle. But I was fortunate enough not to get one of those. But I'm in an open double, and I actually experienced my first anti-Semitism at school with my roommate and her friends. They went away for a weekend, and like they came back and they talked about how they ran into a Hasid in the city, and they asked him to take a photograph, and he said he couldn't, and they started screaming at him because they know all these Jews at Syracuse who do things on Saturdays. And so that was an experience with my roommate. But besides that, I get along with my roommate. I don't get along with her friends, and I've expressed it to her. So the thing about my roommate, we're not friends, but we're friendly, and we're very respectful of each other's stuff. So it works out well. But that's about it, about my troubles.
But that's hard.
It's the same thing with I'm in a double, and it's a pretty big room. It's one of the newest, it's the newest building on New Paltz right now. And I have 2 girls, and one is we have nothing in common, we have nothing to talk about, but we're friends, and you know, would you mind if I turn this light off? Do you mind if I open this window? And it's very respectable. And the other girl doesn't clean, doesn't ask, she just leaves the window. It's 30 degrees outside, opens all the windows, you know, like I'm trying to sleep, you know, lights on, I'm trying to sleep, and she moved out, which is wonderful. So now I don't have to stress over that anymore, but that was a big stress on me.
Some of you have great roommates?
Yeah,
I
get
took
along
brighter
with
side. I went there and I got along with my roommate right away, so it's kind of good to go in there and have someone that you can rely on within the first couple of weeks, especially at a school like mine where it's like so big and you really can feel intimidated at times. So it was good to have someone to at least get out there and do things with in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, my roommate and I are very close. We have similar tastes. We see things the same way. You know, she has her own little quirks. She's a minor Paris Hilton obsession, but whatever. It's endearing, I guess. But we get along really well.
Other people roommates?
My roommate and I, we both try to keep our room pretty clean. And I have a friend who's really good friends with his roommate, but his roommate's really, really messy, and he's not. And so, like, that's one source of conflict. But with my roommate, we're both, I don't know, the same way, and just, we won't want to have, like, ants in our room.
How much? Go ahead, Evan.
I was actually stuck in a triple, in a double room, but 3 guys.
Oh, man.
And it was really tough for the first month. But then one of them, like, a room opened up, so they moved out. One of them moved out. And I'm in, like, a suite, so we have 11 guys in one area, which is really nice. And we have, like, a big common room.
Oh,
So
wow.
it went pretty well.
Have your parents inspected the room yet?
No.
Would you pass that neatness test?
We would have passed the test.
How much time do you actually spend in the room, though? And I think a lot of people, a lot?
None. I don't spend any time in my
So I
room.
heard none in it. Who spends little time? Aside from, where do you spend most of your time?
sleep there.
Let me remind you that you're live on camera.
I'm always so busy. I'm just never in the room. On top of that, I don't sleep to begin with, so.
The answer for your parents is that I'm in the library most
I
of the
am.
time.
I'm studying, Mom and Dad.
So where do you study, most of you?
Library.
Different
Library.
places?
In the room.
Usually
Theater?
Room.
Yeah.
Never in the library.
There's a room in my house that people go to study, so it's quiet.
It's a study room.
Yeah.
I can do it in my room because I can like close the door pretty much whenever, so it works.
I'm at the theater, always.
We can't study anywhere in our room, or like anywhere in my dorm. We have to go to a library. It's just like kids are always opening doors and knocking and playing music. So we don't even have quiet hours. It's just like not, well, people like when they moved into our dorm, it's pretty social. They kind of knew what was up before they moved in. So I don't know, if you need to study, you just go to a library.
Scott, this sounds like a stuffy question. I don't think I've ever asked it, but when you look for colleges, very often
Your mic
Dr.
fell.
Mike.
we're experiencing technical difficulties. Thanks. Anyway, when you look for colleges, very often college tours say, take a look at the library and what we have and the resources available. Is the library a factor at all in your lives? I mean, the extent of the collection there?
No.
Or in this
Not
age?
for me,
Or in
but
this
the
age?
library?
Not so much the extent.
It's
It's quiet.
really
Well,
amazing.
I didn't really look at any of the schools before I applied to, but afterwards, I mean, you want a library that's good. I mean, you can look at News Weekly and it says like the University of Miami has the worst library in the country. Obviously, you're not going to apply there. So it is important. I mean, because you don't want to have to go, an hour to find a book or like to the public library in town if you can get it right on campus.
But how much are you just using the internet? Is most of you,
Yeah.
well, first of all, do you have to do a lot of research? And then secondly, do you use books or do you use internet or what
What
do
you can do is you can search for a book in the library from your room.
Yeah.
And then if they have it, then you bring in the call number and then they get it for you so you don't have to go searching for it. But the last time I was in the library was for family weekend because my dad wanted to see it. So I'm not there very much.
Hi.
I'm sorry, Lauren.
Well, I had to do a big research project, and you had to like gather like 10 different sources, and some using the internet, some using periodicals and journals and stuff like that. So the library was really, really helpful, and the librarians, the reference desk was like my life for a little while, and it worked out really well.
Could we switch to academics a little bit? No, Ben? Is there one course that you're taking now that you truly love, that's wowed you, that you say, my God, I can't believe that I could have that kind of a course in college, and tell us what it is and why? Go ahead, Stephanie.
We have a seminar and composition class, so it's a writing course, and they expand from like the 5-paragraph format that you learn in high school to what the University of Pittsburgh calls exploratory writing, and it's just the course has made me think so much, and their goal as teachers is to make you just like get caught up and like put knots in your thinking, and it's I've learned so much from it.
Jessica?
Well, I'm taking acting classes, and they're all amazing. But there's this one course that's mandatory for freshmen in the Department of Drama, and it's called Core. And it's a rotation of stage combat, Meisner acting, method acting, and voice and speech for the actor. And that, because you're divided into, the freshman class is divided into 4 groups, and then you're with your core Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And next semester it's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, because they add the musical theater core. But that's been the most amazing class, and like every week we leave crying because like it's just so emotional, and it's really life-changing. But I mean, that sounds, but it's true because it's
what you love.
Yeah.
Jess, do you ever have to take any academic classes?
If I want to. All freshmen at the university have to take Writing 105, which is the worst course ever. But all freshmen.
Good thing everyone takes it.
Yeah, everyone has to. It's mandatory. But starting junior year, I could choose to take electives, academics. But I'm probably just going to be taking more dance classes and stuff. I might get a minor.
Another course you love?
Well, my school is a business school, mainly. So the main course that all freshmen have to take is a course called Foundation Management Experience. So for the second half of the year and starting the first half of the year, we actually, in a group of 30, we have to start our own business. And that's the course. And it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of stress, and but it's so rewarding, and I've learned so much, and it's so awesome. Because like friends talk about how they're learning from this and that, and I'm like, well, I was just talking on the phone with a regional vice president of PepsiCo where I was selling him customized Lance Armstrong wristbands. So it's a little bit different.
I'm not going to see you on The Apprentice anytime soon.
we have an apprentice course. We have an apprentice course. We were just on Oprah, actually. She filmed the segment at our school because we have an apprentice course.
Anybody else on academics?
I love
Evan?
Psychology 101. It's like just absolutely amazing. Now I can sort of diagnose everyone's neurosis. It's like, you're passive aggressive, aren't you? So that's fun.
Yeah, it's like 101. They told us about like the medical student syndrome, where you look at the book and then you think you have every disease in the book.
Is that a huge lecture course?
Yeah, that one's in my school. It's about 300 kids lecture.
Yeah. Mine's 30 people.
30?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I have another course called The Age of Jefferson, and it's a history course, and it's only about 20 kids. And the professor is just a really funny, intelligent guy. And like we have 8 books for the course, and he wrote like 5 of them. And it's like 500 pages to read in a week. We have to like read everything Jefferson ever wrote. But it's interesting because like you get so in depth in him, and you don't really realize like how many layers there were to him until you actually go that far.
And how brilliant he is.
I do. No, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I took a 10-day meditation course when I was in way up in the mountains, and it was really cool. And I was so excited. I'm gonna achieve nirvana and sit on my little meditation mat. And we had these great teachers come in, and one of the things I was like, wow, I'm so excited for college. I get to choose the courses that I want to take, and they're going to be about interesting things. And you know, hearing you guys talk about it sounds like if you find a class that you love, it is something that you really want to attend. And I mean, I was taking courses, but they weren't every day for however many months.
You know, this is not meant to sound as heresy from the high school principal, but before the show, you told me that you thought it was a really good idea to take some time off before going to college.
I do.
So I don't want parents to get nervous. But tell us why.
Well, for me, I mean, for different people, some people finish high school and I think they're ready for college. For me, it was a really good idea to step away from the whole, just from formal education, and to do some learning that was more experiential. And that's certainly what this was. And I was just lucky to find I went with a program, and I was lucky to find a program and a trip and a place and people that helped me learn so much. So it wasn't like I took time off. There's a whole little community of people who decide not to go straight to college who like to say, we took time on. To go do something that's just as valuable as college, really, and just a different way of going about it.
Michael, you were going to talk about a course, I thought.
Yeah, I'm sort of like a math and science person, so I went and found a math class that I wanted to take, and then I had to take 3 others. And I really had no idea what I was doing with myself. And then I stumbled into Intro to World Religions, which, like, you know, nothing like I've ever taken before, but like, and more reading than I wanted to do. And I was originally taking it pass fail, but then I switched it after the midterm. and it was a lot of fun. And I ended up like doing all the work and like surprising myself that I would actually like bother to do everything. And I ended up learning a lot, and I was really happy I took it afterwards. So.
Yeah, like I took a government class this semester, and it's just, basic Gov 100. A lot of people take it. Government's a pretty popular major at Smith, so I figured I'd, try it out, see what it was like. And I really didn't like it. For like the first 3 months of the course, I thought it was really boring. But then I really got into it for the latter half. And, I liked what we were reading, and it was a big lecture course with, a smaller discussion section. And I became close with the professor in my discussion section, and there were only 6 people in that course, and on average only 3 people would show up a week. So we got to know each other pretty well.
What was it like, speaking of government, Evan, we were talking about this just before, to be on college campuses or in India during a big national presidential election?
Oh my God. It was really, sorry.
Well, my school, like FIT, it's on 27th between 7th and 8th, so I'm right by Madison Square Garden. It's like 3 blocks away from me. And I came like home, I was here, and then I went back home one day, and I walk outside my dorm room after I drop all my stuff off, and there's like protesters, just lining like all around like my school. My school was like the staging base for the cops, so we had 200 cops on campus with us.
Oh my God.
And it was just intense. Like whenever I was in my dorm room, I could hear like protesters outside the entire time. And like we looked down like 7th Avenue. There's no end in sight, and it was all day. It was really intense.
You know, I'm curious. I'm looking around.
That's it. Wait, I'm not done with the election.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because Evan, you were saying that your campus felt totally divided.
Yeah, it was split like 50-50, I'd say. I was in an organization called Cabs for Carry, so we tried to get people to register to vote and get the word out. I guess we didn't do too well, but but they had even on the party side of it, like fraternities would have like Bush Cheney parties, and like during the election nights or during the debates. Thank you. We would, like, people would get together and watch them, and it was really active on campus.
So were all of your schools, were any of your schools like forgetting it?
My campus was totally one-sided for Carey, entirely. And like, New Paltz, New York is like the town that like the 60s left behind. It's very liberal. It's very, like, you can't, you can't buy a white t-shirt. Everything's velvet and tie-dyed. And I'm very serious about that. And,
you have the California folks.
It was, it was very one-sided, and you don't hear, there was no debate. It was just like they assumed that everyone agreed the same thing, and so it was very one-sided.
Well, at an art school, it's very liberal, and it's just like everywhere. It was very like Carey, and I mean it's kind of a bubble. Like you don't really hear that much of the outer world because it's like really absorbing art. But I guess it was like a surprise to see the outcome. Like I did get to watch TV sometimes and like see the debates, but like it was just I didn't even think there was like another option. I mean,
go ahead.
Well, I mean, my school I don't really consider it that political, and I think. I mean, kids had opinions, and there was light debate, but I think the administration was actually trying to make it a bigger deal to kids than everyone else wanted it to be. So I mean, they'd have people in the commons handing out flyers and stuff, and kids would just sort of walk by and say whatever. And I mean, all my friends voted, but no one really had that much interest in it then. So.
Did you all vote?
Yeah. I was pretty surprised by that. My college was. Pretty conservative. I think that if the election was held on our campus, Bush would win by 20 points. And I was definitely expected going into college, especially in California, that it would be pretty liberal. But there's a lot of kids from Orange County who are pretty conservative. And altogether, I saw far more. We had Michael Moore come and speak, and there was like thousands of like Bush supporters who were like going around, and he like got in a fight with them.
Cool.
Very animated.
Smith is a pretty liberal place. The Smith Republicans are pretty active. I mean, it's a small group, but they're very visible. And it's a very respectful environment, but I'd say the campus feeling is very liberal. And, on November 3rd, there are a lot of people, crying. I mean, it's a women's college. Everyone's very emotional all the time. But there's definitely like an air of sadness.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like what Scott was saying, in California, my campus was so liberal. Like, it was like we would sit and watch the debates, and anytime Bush said the thing that could be, considered like slightly stupid, the room would just erupt. It was kind of like, and like you couldn't really have an argument with anybody because everybody, I mean, there are some conservatives, but it was very liberal, and a lot of people were very depressed after the election.
So Stephanie, a little different perspective, huh?
Well, I'm a 4th class cadet in Air Force IRTC, so I need to wear my uniform around campus. And the students don't like that a whole lot. So I have a couple horror stories. Like, I've gotten spit on, and police officers have said, you know, some things that they shouldn't have said. And I just try to ignore it. I really do. And right down the street is Carnegie Mellon University, and we've had John Kerry has come and spoken there. There's been, for like the whole month of October and, you know, November, every day there are rallies and people honk for Kerry, you know. So just try to get inside as quickly as possible.
All I was going to say is that it's funny to see how each different speaker that comes to the school brings out its support groups and its groups that are going to protest against it. So we had Michael Moore come speak, so everyone got really excited to go see him, and then there were also people that were going to stand outside and protest. And then the most interesting experience for me was Justice Scalia came and did a speech about constitutional interpretation, and I've never seen so many angry people in my life I saw outside that building, and it was just, it's an experience to see how much people really get into things.
You didn't go hunting with them, did you?
No comment.
Joke.
You know, I've said before that I'm looking around that you people were so involved in the school. I mean, from sports to pace to music, etc. Do you get a chance to do the kinds of extracurricular involvement at college that you had at high school?
No.
Yeah, I actually, at Quinnipiac, they allow freshmen to be on the air at the radio station. So I'm probably going to get like a radio show next semester. I've been like on the air doing updates and stuff. So, but it's really cool because like they want people to get involved with it. They don't care what your age is. So.
And you have enough time to do it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Other sports activities?
Sean? I know I play baseball at Gettysburg right now, and it's actually a lot more time than I expected. So besides baseball and class, I don't really have time for many other like groups or organizations or anything like that.
You know, I'm interested in the baseball because you're a superb baseball player, and a lot of people have come back from college to say that the demands are so intense with sports that they can't do academics and sports, even though they thought they could. You obviously can do that at college.
Yeah, it's not like too much, but it gets pretty busy at sometimes. I'm sure during the spring I'll be up pulling all-nighters every once in a while.
But if you already have like a particularly close team, because sometimes if you're in a team, particularly in a freshman year, that become your friends.
Yeah, I know a lot of freshmen. We have the baseball team has a lot of parties together and stuff. So, yeah.
I've seen that basically any club I want to do, there's like a means for me to do it. And so far, like I've done like one show, and I'm going to be in another one. So like I just feel like there's so much opportunity to go out there and do things. Like, you don't have to. There's not as much pressure as there was in high school. Like you're in something and you're automatically stuck in that club and you're associated to that. Whereas at school, you can go and take one time of your day to go be in one place, and then you can be separated from that whenever you want. So it's a really cool experience.
I had to kick and scream to get into the music department because you had to go through, I wasn't going to major, so I had to go through this one guy to just audition just to be in an ensemble, and he's a musician too, so he's just the biggest flake like ever. He like stood me up twice for an audition, and then I got in. He was like, "Oh, you're good." I'm like, "Thank you." And so I'm going to do something next semester, and then like for like other extracurricular things like with writing and poetry, like I'm on the slam team. I try out for a poetry slam team, which is fun, and hopefully I'm going to transfer for writing. So.
Colgate is like they like scream at you to get involved. Like everyone's really involved in everything, and I think there's a lot more time for me at least because everything's so close together. So you can there's like plenty of time to go back to your room, and then there's like so much more like empty time in the day and like spaces of time. So I have plenty of time to get involved really. So I'm having a good time with that.
You know, you probably.
Since everyone at my school is sort of trying to be like the next Hillary Clinton and Madeleine Albright. It's sort of like if you don't hold a position, at least one, like the second week of school, they're like, what's wrong with you? So, I mean, it is sort of weird. So I'm like in the Film Society, I'm in the literary magazine, I've already been in a play, I've like written a play, I'm in like the Black Women's Society on campus, you know, and I'm like historian for that club, I'm in the fashion club. It's just sort of like, if you're not busy, then there's something wrong with you.
Every year.
Ilana, you have a whole different.
Well, my school's really intense in the sense that we have class like 35 hours a week. Like our art classes are like 8 hours long, and they're really intense. So it's really hard to do other things because also you love doing what you're doing, and so it's hard to make time. But I mean, it's nice when I can do anything I want at Brown since it's like right down the street. So it's nice, and so I can do like swing club there. And just kind of whatever I want, which is nice. It's hard to make time, but like when you do, it's like worth it.
I'm totally owning Babson in terms of that. Because there are very few people who actually want to get involved in the school. And so I'm like an officer in the radio station, and I have my own radio show, and I have the liberal column in the newspaper, and I'm going to be the first liberal opinions editor that they've ever had. I started the bowling club, and in order to make sure that I got funding, I joined the Ways and Means Committee so that I can approve my own budgets. And that means that I need to be in the Student Government Association, which means that I need to join a committee of that. So I'm in the Campus Activity Board, and I'm in a ton of other things.
So Evan, Herbie is the modern day Jefferson.
Call Herbie.
Call Herbie.
Yeah, tough things, man.
I was going to say to you that this is a really hard time for seniors because they have just heard, many of them, about early admission. And they're just, and some did not get in early, and parents are worried about which college they will get into. We sometimes have had people say, after 6 months, I'm not sure I made the right decision, or this is the perfect place for me. Have you had any reservations about where you are now in terms of college?
I think that I didn't go to the school I wanted to go to because where I wanted to go was obscenely priced, like obscenely priced. So, you know, you go where you go and you do what you can do with it because, like, I showed up there and I wasn't happy. And after a while, you just get used to it and you sort of find things that make you happy. Like I found, you know, I finally got into the music thing. You know, I found ways of writing. I found other things. You know, I was the last orientation group, so I didn't get all the classes I wanted. But, like, you find things that are right for you. And I plan on transferring. And what I'm doing is I'm working as hard as I can to get the best grades that I can. So when I transfer, maybe I can get, you know, a better scholarship or something. But you work to get what you want, and you work for your grades to get where you want to be. So that's it.
And the rest of you, are you happy with the choice you made?
I'm
Andy?
obsessed with my school.
Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to go where I'm going ever since I was like 5, so, and it turned out all right. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could be happy anywhere. So to people who didn't get in, I think it's just, you know, go into wherever you get into with optimism and don't try not to be upset about it. I think.
Do you have any friends who aren't happy, either at your current schools or friends from home?
You do?
At my current school, I mean, we have one of the highest like dropout rates and suicide rates for that matter.
There's an advertisement.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm very happy with my school, but definitely just if you work hard, you can transfer out. And I definitely did not think I was going to be going to Babson when I was applying to schools. I did not get into my early decision school. I actually got into higher ranking schools, but just go and visit the schools and like talk to people, and if it does seem like the right school for you, then just go for it. Who cares about what everyone else says?
And those of you who shook their head that you have friends who are not happy, why are they not happy at the school they're in?
Well, there's a girl who lives down my dorm, down the hall, and she's not happy with Wellesley because she doesn't think when someone mentions studying, other people should say, yay! And, you know, she doesn't like the fact that we really don't have any school spirit. It's because our sports teams aren't really good because it's an all-female school. Not to say that girls can't play sports, but so, I mean, she's transferring to Notre Dame, and the Notre Dame admissions people are like, why are you leaving Wellesley? You know, it's such a great school, but you sort of get there and you're not happy, and, you know, if you're not happy after 3 months, you probably won't be happy after a year. So it's better just to transfer to a place where you think you'll fit in more.
Or
Yeah,
just
like
apply. Just apply.
Julia? Yeah. Julia?
I was just gonna say I can really sympathize with the people who didn't get in. I applied early, didn't get in there, and then didn't know what I was gonna. I knew I was gonna take a year off and didn't know what I was gonna do with these applications. I sent them out, and some came back, and I got accepted, and I actually decided to enroll and then defer my acceptance. But I had friends on my trip in India because I went with a group, and who had to reapply, or who decided that they were just gonna, they didn't get in where they wanted to, so they were just gonna take some time and make the decision then. And I really think that I see a year's time in a new perspective, having decided to take a year and not do college. And so I'll spend a year. I'm going to Hamilton in the fall, and I'll spend a year there. And if I don't like it, I'll transfer. And that's what you do. You transfer if you don't love it.
You're eligible to come back to the roundtable next year again.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the seniors in high school go, I was rejected early decision last year, and yeah, it was awful, but I love Smith, and I'm really happy there, and I can't see myself anywhere else. But that's just me. Like, I have friends at Smith who want to transfer because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, or they're just not happy. So it's really a personal thing.
Because the counselors always say to you, there is no one school. Don't fall in love with one school. And I think we all, when you go through the process, you don't know if that's true. But then people do get into other schools and seem quite happy.
I completely.
No, Mike.
Oh, I completely agree with what you just said. Because when I was applying to schools, I basically applied to Mona just to have a geographic diversity, just in case I wanted to go somewhere else. And so, and I didn't visit it until I'd say April 24th, and the deadline is May 1st, and I went out there and just loved it. So really, wherever you end up is gonna be great, and everything works out, I think. And when you get into school, go visit it, because you really don't know. Keep your options open, because I kind of thought that flying out to California for 3 days would be a waste, since I had pretty much decided that I was going to go to Middlebury, and then I went there and I loved it, and so that's where I am now.
I wouldn't go with where your parents want you to go. I think that's the stupidest decision ever. I think that you should definitely
Scott, your mother is watching.
Hi, Mom. But I think that even if your parents are pushing for one school, my parents tried to keep an open mind, but they definitely had a favorite that was not mine. And you got to go where you're happy, because if you don't, if you go where your parents want you to go and you're upset, you'll probably be upset at your parents. And I think it's just you go where you fit in. Don't go where you think your parents want you to go.
How did we do for you as a high school in terms of college?
I feel very well prepared academically.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what advice would you give to kids who are still in high school about what they would need to do to make sure that
do
they
some
get
research on your own.
Don't be nervous about it. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, suck it up.
Is there anything that we could have done, in all seriousness, a little bit better to prepare you for college?
I don't know. I have a few qualms, just because.
Herbie, keep it to a few.
Okay, fine. Well, one, there aren't any business courses offered at the school at all, so that kind of pissed me off while I was here. And that a lot of the people at my school have taken them, so that's kind of a disadvantage. And I've never done that kind of work, so that's a huge disadvantage. And none of the teachers here really prepare you. I learned something in FBLA, but it's not really course. So, in terms of that, in terms of how well the high schools have prepared you for the individual workload and whatnot, I think that I'm one of the least prepared in terms of high schools.
Do others of you have that same experience in terms of your
I actually have the
preparation?
opposite. PACE prepared me so well for the classes that I'm taking now.
PACE prepared me so well for life.
Yeah.
Go Pace.
This is great.
Pace rocks.
Because I'm taking acting classes and stuff, but so it's kind of the same things, but a PACE experience is very different than you get in normal academic classrooms, and all my classes in college are similar to the types of classes that I took in PACE. So that was very helpful.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
like
some of the
I wear all the PACE shirts and I get to talk
Yeah,
about PACE.
How about some of the others of you for the academic?
It's not only classes, I think, at our school. I think that since there were so many different outlets for creativity in terms of writing, music, even PACE with acting and other forms of acting, that our school really has like a whole community aspect to it. Like we're involved with like Larchmont, Mamaroneck, and the surrounding area, so that when you go to school, you're not intimidated to go out there and get into clubs and try out for different things because you've been in a place where you've been doing that for the last 4 years. So I think this is really good at encouraging students to pursue their individual dreams and whatever.
So did you do enough reading in high school for the amount of reading that you're required to do now?
I did more in high school.
Yeah, I did more in high school.
Well, I didn't actually do it all, but I was then,
I don't know. I actually think, I mean, I'm sure it's just because, but I think my course selection just sort of forced me to do a lot more reading than I did in high school. I mean, in high school, you pretty much, you do reading in English, and then, you know, in history, you do reading. Whereas I've been doing reading in pretty much every class I've taken except for calculus. So it's pretty much, I mean, I was at a point where I was reading maybe 2 books a week. And that's a lot more than you're doing in high school.
Bet you missed those bells, huh? What about the open campus? We always, parents are always asking about whether...
It's
so
great.
Yeah.
It's great. Gotta go.
Should stay.
Yeah,
Should stay.
I think
We learned how to
people
we learned how to budget time.
I think people really appreciate the freedom. You know?
It's an in-between, like in-between junior high and in-between college. You know, college, you're by yourself all the time. Junior high, you have your classes, you have your cafeteria. You know, and here, it's in between. Like, you need that amount to choose where you go to lunch, you know, that sort of thing. Not in the halls.
So to end on a light note, but be careful what you say. Were you homesick at the beginning? And B, are you happy to be home now? Be careful what you say.
I love being home. It's amazing to be home with no work. Like, to have nothing to do, no worries. It is amazing. The first time ever.
You can sleep when you're home.
Were you homesick initially, Andy?
A little bit, but I mean, I was too busy, really, to think about it. Honestly, I was meeting people, making friends too fast to think about it.
I was homesick at first.
I wasn't at all.
No.
Every time I eat a meal, I'm homesick.
Yeah, try eating meals that come from cow dung. They cook them right in it. I swear to God. Right in it.
I think it would almost be more fun if we could like spend this vacation in the dorms. I mean, at least like for me, I have so much fun like in the dorms that like I'd rather be there than be home. Like I like my house; it's nice, but the dorms are better.
Do you already miss living with all of your friends?
Yeah.
So when you're home, that's part of it.
You happy to be home?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I mean, I just think when you're at school, everyone loves it, and then when you're like 2 weeks away from coming home, everyone's like, I can't wait to get home. So
Yeah.
I think it's always nice to have a break.
Yeah.
You know, I said to you before the show began that it's hard for me to conceive of this day because when you came back to the high school, it seemed in some ways that you had never left. Everybody was around you, and you have a lot of friends who are still here in the high school. I'm just happy you came back, and I speak for me and for Dr. King. And I hope that you have a great vacation. I know it's a terrific one because you have finished your courses, and a happy new year to you, and I hope you'll come back again soon. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.